Hello, everyone. This is Momo from the 21st Capital, and I am with the Bitcoin Libertarian, Fernando from the Bitcoin Libertarian. Fernando, my friend, we talked last year on your podcast, Crossroads, and you were in Hong Kong. Where are you at now, and how are you doing now?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to talk with Bitcoin. I always love to be guest in the podcast of people that I interview because, as I always say, as many voices we can go into Bitcoin and spread the word, spread the message of Satoshi, the Bitcoin network is going to get stronger because we are all nodes of the Bitcoin network. I'm still in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has been my home since 2019. As I was telling you, in I think 3 4 months, I had to apply for the extension of my visa. That would be the last extension because after 2 years, in 2 years' time, I will become a permanent resident, so I won't need visa anymore.
Awesome. What do you feel about that? I mean, becoming the citizen of another country and you call it home. Why do you consider it home? And it makes me curious about one other thing. How is it with respect to Bitcoin? How is Hong Kong with respect to Bitcoin? Does it have anything to do with that, or are they like any other country?
No, let me answer step by step. The first thing, I'm not gonna become a citizen of Hong Kong. I will just become a PR. A PR has a lot of benefits, but I won't have the passport of Hong Kong. I will just have the benefit of not getting any visa anymore. I just need to be 1 day every 3 years in Hong Kong to to keep the status of PR. And there is some taxes that I don't have to pay if I buy a house, something like that. Second, I think that home is the place where you are not asked for a return ticket to enter. So I left Argentina. I'm from Argentina in 2016. I moved to Thailand. I was 4 years in Thailand, and then I moved to Hong Kong. So I think that home is a concept that it's again is where you are not requested a ticket out to be. I hope I stay in Hong Kong because I like the city. I like the life here, even though they have downsides like the size of the apartments and the cost of living, especially in rent. But I'm so happy to be here, and it's an amazing city. And talking about Bitcoin, Hong Kong, even though it's a very huge financial hub, even though we have the ETFs since like year, and we had the conference last year, the Bitcoin conference here in Hong Kong, and it's going to be in a couple of months again, Bitcoin conference Asia in Hong Kong. It's not a very maxi Bitcoin city because most of the people, I always say the people that most understand Bitcoin is the people that most need Bitcoin. As we were speaking in our episode when we met, that you were telling us the situation of the people in Iran, that they need to probably leave the house or leave the country from one day to another, and you cannot carry your belongings. The only thing that you can carry are the 12 or the 24 words in your mind. So here people don't need Bitcoin. People is a wealthy country. Hong Kong is a wealthy city. All the people has access to banking since they are kids. All the people has mobile phones. All the people has finance access of credit cards again since they are kids. So for them, they don't see Bitcoin the way that people see Bitcoin in the world, especially in Latin America, in Africa, and certain countries in Asia. So they see Bitcoin as another asset and another investment. Everyone here invests in stocks. So for them, Bitcoin is another stock, and Ethereum is another stock, and Dogecoin is another stock. So for them, they don't go in deep into the rabbit hole as we went, but there is a lot of movement in terms of finance, in terms of regulations, in terms of ETF. There is a lot of money here. There are a lot of big funds. I think that these big funds, even though I don't like, they are now we need them because we need to make Bitcoin mainstream. But again, here in Hong Kong, the Bitcoin ecosystem is more oriented to finance, to investment, to trading instead of the real thing why Bitcoin was created.
Yeah, they, as you said, do not feel the need for it. It is not a kind of necessity. It is just to make their bags bigger. Well, that is also another function of it, and it does it. It does a very good job of it. Um, and tell us about. I was on your podcast, Crossroads, and that's how I got to know you. Now we see some changes. The Bitcoin Libertarian. Tell me about your business and your Bitcoin business and Bitcoin activities, how you started, and all the stories that have happened, and why you are now the Bitcoin Libertarian. And a beautiful name, by the way.
Well, you can ask the question that I usually ask to all my guests, that is, how were you on Spiel? Well, I come from Argentina, and another thing that I want to add, people in Hong Kong don't need Bitcoin because Hong Kong has one of the strongest currencies in the world, that is the Hong Kong dollar, that technically is sound money compared with other currency, probably with the currencies of Iran and the Argentinian peso. And there is not too much inflation here, so that's another thing. So my story into I can consider myself as an anarchist, an anarcho-capitalist, an Austrian economist since much before Bitcoin was invented. I studied economics. I got a degree in economics, and by the time that I was studying economics, I started reading some, not the books, but some articles from Murray Rothbard, Hayek, and all the thinkers of the Austrian School of Economics. And I was thinking, why we don't learn from them at the university? We just learn from Keynes, probably Chicago boys, and probably Marx. They teach you Marxism as you don't have to do this because socialism is bad, but they put Keynesianism as something good. So when I was at the university, I remember the one of the classes that was the basic economics that all the students were studying, that was the basic. And the teacher was explaining us about how the money works and how the central bank works and how was the multiplier of the money, the fractional reserve of the banks, how the banks can create money, how I can deposit 100 in the bank and the bank can lend out of 1,000. So at that time, I say, what the fuck? What is happening? Why the banks can lend money that they don't have? And another thing that caught my attention was the 2% inflation. Why it's 2%? Why deflation is bad? Why 2% and not 3 and not, or not 1.5? All these scams that the system, the fiat system do to perpetrate their power. So that was around 2005, 2006. And I didn't pay much attention at that. As an Argentinian, we deal with a lot of inflation. We deal with a lot of financial deficit from the state. We deal with, in my lifespan, I am 44. I saw 5 different monetary things in Argentina. I saw 2 hyperinflations, and 3 times the bank stole the money of the people in only 44 years. So, I left Argentina 9 years ago. So that's why in Argentina we learn since we are kids to save in some money and to have the money outside of the banks. So we learn about sound money and self-custody since we are kids. When we are a Roman Catholic country, so when we are like 10 years old, we go to the church and take the communion. That is something that is like you eat the body of Jesus Christ. And after that, you have some stamps that you give to your family and your neighbors, and they give you money. And I remember that when I did that, I was 10 years old. I asked my dad, change the money to US dollars, and I used to put the US dollars inside a book that I have in my bookshelf. So then I met my business partner, that is the other guy behind the Bitcoin Libertarian, and we start doing some business related to online marketing and all the stuff and all the things that we need to pay to make payments and receive payments from abroad. That was a very, very complicated thing in Argentina in 2011, 2012, because at that time the Kirchners were the rulers of the country and they put a lot of controls in the dollar, in the transfers. They were controlling. There was so difficult to send money out and bring money in Argentina. So we used Skrill, we used Tuneteller, we used all these payment methods until we met this technology called Bitcoin that you can send to any person in a moment, and we have to change money to Bitcoin and send. And for that time, Bitcoin was just a payment method. We didn't go to the rabbit hole. Then it comes the 2016, 17 bull market and crash. And then it came the pandemic. And when the pandemic happened, my business partner said, we cannot be outside Bitcoin anymore. And we cannot be without studying Bitcoin anymore. And then we went into the rabbit hole, and especially with the series of Michael Saylor, we both became super orange pill. I think that the series with Saylor and Breedlove is one of the most incredible educational things that are for Bitcoin, and together with the Bitcoin standard. These are the two pillars of the stepping stones of the Bitcoin maximalist. And since then, we became Bitcoin maximalists with my business partner. We run our marketing business here in Hong Kong, another business that we are running. We decided to go into the business of the newsletters to learn how to run this business, and the content creation that we haven't done anything until that time. And what better than do with Bitcoin? That was something that for us, we know that we were not getting money immediately from that project, but the main goal of the project was keep orange peeling people, give more education, give our knowledge, interview people, meet people, and make the Bitcoin ecosystem stronger. Since then, 2022, we started the newsletter, Crossroad, that is a daily email newsletter related to Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin only. This also has a website where we publish news related to Bitcoin once a day. It's crossroad.co. And 1 year after, I started doing the podcast because I wanted to start creating something related to YouTube, studying YouTube, because we need to be inside YouTube. And after a couple of months, YouTube banned our YouTube channel, so the Crossroad YouTube channel. And also we got banned our Crossroad Twitter from Twitter. So that's why we kind of rebranded part of the media as the Bitcoin Libertarian. That is the podcast now, the YouTube channel, but the newsletter and the main project is still Crossroad. The main goal of us is orange pill people, is like help people to understand Bitcoin, because of course we are like less than 10% of the world that adopt Bitcoin. And now we are doing content only in English, but we started a new channel in Spanish with interviews to Spanish people, and also translating with AI the interviews to people in English, because we noticed that there is a problem in the Latin America market or the Spanish market, that there is no content Bitcoin only. There are a lot of content that they are Bitcoin, but they talk about trading. They talk about shitcoins. And that's why people end up failing in these shitcoin scams that we are going to talk in a little bit. And we think that the most important thing we need for adoption is education. Without education, the massive adoption is not going to happen. Without telling people the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum or Luna or Libra, the adoption is not going to happen. So that's the thing. And as I always say, we are going to be, we all are nodes of the Bitcoin network, and as many of us are here preaching the word of Satoshi, it's going to be, the Bitcoin network was going to be even stronger.
And for those who are curious about your newsletter or other channels, the links are already in the description of our YouTube channel. So check out there and check out their newsletter and other channels, and of course their podcast. To be honest, when I saw that the podcasts were with the Spanish-speaking people, I didn't even try the translation. But now that I know that it has translation, that was and that was my pleasant surprise. So I might watch them too. And when it comes to speaking people, do you tend to get people from who look at Bitcoin from the economy side most of the time, or from the technical side?
Well, this is one of the important questions that you are doing. The thing is that we can talk a lot about Bitcoin and a lot about the thing is that what I'm seeing in most of the podcasts, in most of the education, in all the content that I found either in English, in Spanish, most in Spanish, that we talk about Bitcoin. Most of the podcasts are amazing, but we talk about Bitcoin. And for the people that is not in Bitcoin, and let me tell one thing, let me pick up some things that say this guy, Brian the Mint, we need to do the Bitcoin evangelism, and we need to convince the pagans that are the shitcoiners and the atheists that are the not coiners. So I think that before speaking Bitcoin, before talking about Bitcoin with people that is no coiner, we need to teach the people what money is. What is the money? What is the system? Why there is inflation? How the system works? How the money printing are destroying our economy. So I think that the aspect that we want to start giving, even in Spanish and also in the content in English, is turn a little bit more in what is money and how does money work, and also how Bitcoin solves the problem that the fiat system brings. Because let's say I have to talk with my, I don't want to say my mom, but let's say my friends in Argentina that they don't understand about Bitcoin. So I want to tell, I'm not gonna tell them, start explaining, I don't know, 21 million, the halvings, the multi-sig, or the difficulty adjustment of the network, and all the things that I don't even understand, if they don't understand how the system works. So the first thing that you need to teach to everyone is, first, we live in a system that is broken. The system is broken. Why? Because all the things that we know about the money printing, the fiat that has no, is not back up with anything, is not back up with some money. And after that, the problems that all these things bring to our economy and our lives. And after that, start explaining Bitcoin as a solution. One good approach, I like to follow a guy called James that has an investment channel that is called Invest Answers. And the other day he was explaining how your money is devaluated and how money do you need to afford a house in United States, and how this value of the house has like increased like 40% a year in compound in CAGR, and why you need to think in make much more money of this to at least not even retire, to buy a house or to be afford money to buy your groceries and everything. So I think that we need to start giving the education on that side. I love talking about Bitcoin, but I'm looking for guests that also talk about money and also talk about investments and also talk about Austrian economics. That is the only school of economics that is true.
Yeah, actually, most of the people, and me included, before coming into Bitcoin, we think that we know money, but then we realize that we do not. Your situation was different. You studied economics, but I studied English language and literature. So I didn't have any connection with it. I had, of course, friends who studied economics. Uh, and when I learned that actually the money that governments print is not backed by gold anymore, I was very surprised. So something as basic as that is something that I learned in my 20s, early 20s, but I am an educated guy, for God's sake. And so many people are like that. So who is giving Bitcoin value? The fiat money, the government is giving it value, and they kind of opposite of extrapolate, they kind of regress, they go back in time and say that, well, government gave value to gold too. all these misconceptions all of us have, and we really think that we do understand money, but that basic question we do not understand. And when we understand it, we realize that, oh, maybe my money shouldn't lose value over time, because that's one of the important functions.
The problem is that it's not about because I studied economics. Like, even the people who study economics
Definitely,
don't
yes.
understand money. That's
Yes.
the point.
Yes.
Imagine, like, if a person that is graduated from School of Economics in Harvard, that learn from, most of the economy that they learn is either Chicago school or Keynesian. So it's the same, because the adjustment for them is the supply of money. The Keynesian is spend more, the Chicago is adjust the interest rate. So none of them is Austrian economy. So and Keynesians are the worst. I posted today in Twitter that socialists are the terraplanists of economy. They don't understand economy. Keynesians are worse because they understand economy and they use the economy to scam you. So that's the point. But I think that to understand the money, the people who really understand the money are the engineers. And it come to Sailor, it come to my business partner that he's also an engineer. And I had a small, prior to study economics, I studied 4 years of engineering. So when you study engineering, you know that nothing can violate the rules of the universe. And the basic rule of the universe is the law of thermodynamics, the first one. Like, the energy is not, you cannot create energy from thin air. That's the point. And when you, in the transactions, in the economic transactions, it involve labor and time. So when I get paid, it's because I put labor and time. So that's all. And labor and time is energy. So if we use a currency that doesn't respect the law of thermodynamics, it's going to happen what is happened. It's not the problem of the fiat. The problem is that the governments, when they spend money, they spend more than they can, they get. They print money and they generate inflation. They print money to bail out the banks. They print money to give money to their friends. And of course, the main beneficiaries of this, are the bankers, are the governments, and the less is people. So that's the problem, why nobody understands money. It's not because you didn't understand economy. It's because you don't understand physics. So that's why when you go to Sailor gives the perfect explanation about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is energy. Bitcoin is the store of energy, and is money that respects the law of thermodynamics. So that's why it's perfect. That's why it's the most perfect thing that humans have ever created, and it's the only sound money. And it's only going to be 21 million. So that's the point. I think that nobody understands how money works. Even most of the graduated, I say that probably some Keynesian economists like Krugman, Bernanke, and all these scammers from the Fed, they understand how money works, but they use it on their favor. That's the point. But most of the people that is graduated from economics, that they learn from them, because in the School of Economics you don't learn ocean economy, you think that the system is like this and you don't question. That's the thing. Because if something is working, you are not going to question it. But it's not working. That's the thing. When you start seeing the basis, the roots of the system, see that the roots are rotten and it's not working, and we need to fix it. That is extremely good explained in my book that I have here. That is, I don't want to throw but it's the book of Lawrence Lepard, the big print. It's really excellent explaining how it works.
Great.
So I think that even nobody understands money because we need to understand physics. If we understand physics, we understand money. And the biggest explanation was given by Saylor.
That was a great point that you said. Engineers understand money very well, and yeah, Sailor's an engineer and looks at it from engineering point of view. this wasn't in any way on my agenda, but I am curious to know your thoughts on it. Do you think Satoshi Nakamoto was more of an engineer, or was he well versed in Austrian economics, and that is what motivated him to create Bitcoin?
First of all, I want to say why him and not her.
Yeah.
Can be him or her. Let's see. So I think that I don't. Let's. I have a lot of theories about who can be Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't think that is one person. I think that it's a group of persons, and probably the leader of this group of person was Satoshi Nakamoto. I think that they studied all the aspects. So they, of course, the group of, let's say if there is only one person, this person really understands both worlds, engineering and economics, mathematics and economics, coding and economics, cryptography and economics. So I think that the person or the group of persons, they have this background on all the science together. Because again, you cannot explain economic without knowing physics, because it's the physics. We cannot violate this. I cannot jump from my balcony, from my ninth floor, and fly. If I jump from my balcony, I will fall and die. If I print money out of nowhere, I will generate inflation. And if I generate inflation, I will make the life miserable for the poorest people, not for the people that is next to the printing machine, as the Cantillon effect says. So I think that, again, Satoshi, whoever he, she, or this group is, they know about physics, they know about economics, they know about history, because in the history of the world, all the empires fell because of a bad currency, of not having sound money. Uh, they know about social aspects of the people. They know about a lot about culture. They know about futurism. They know all the things that involve the humanity. So they know biology. So I think that this group know, or he, him, or whoever, her, I think that they know all the science that involve the humanity, and create Bitcoin to make humanity much better, have a future, have a better future. So that's what I think. To create something perfect, the most perfect thing that has ever been created, like Bitcoin, you need to know about all the fields of the humanity: science, economy, sociology, engineering, and even art. So that's my point.
Interesting. And makes a lot of sense. Um, let's kind of shift gears and talk about your homeland country, Argentina, and the president, Javier Milei. Uh, in the beginning, I didn't have much hopes for him. I hadn't studied him. I was, very cautiously optimistic about him. But uh, especially when I heard his interview with Lex Friedman, I really realized that he has understood freedom, he has understood economics and all. And I really liked him as a person. However, not long after that, the Libra scam happened, and it kind of broke my heart. Though I didn't have much hope in politicians, I had come to believe that he knew what he was doing, and he knew what he was saying. Uh, but still, to give him some credit, almost all of the presidents are total shitcoiners. He had maybe one shitcoinery. I want to know from your point of view, as someone who has come from Argentina and understands this person with your own native language. Nothing is lost in translation. You know how the life has been, how the life has become. What is your evaluation of him and his ideas?
Well, let me separate the things. Let me separate Milei, the politician, Milei, the president, and Milei, the Libra promoter. First of all, I discovered Milei when I was already left Argentina. He started. It's funny because he started being invited to these shows, the TV shows that where everyone are speaking nonsense things. He was a very funny character because he is an Austrian economist and he hates Keynes and he hates the central banks as much as every one of us hates. So he started going to there, and he has a very huge, very nice, very strong personality, as many of the Argentinians, but his personality is even stronger. So they start talking about shit, about the Austrian economies, a lot of things, and he became super angry. And that was the funny thing. And when he became angry, everyone was laughing at him, and the audience picked. So that's why they keep inviting. But then I start following him in YouTube because, as I said, I was already living abroad. So I like his ideas. I like his point of view because they are the ideas that I embrace: Austrian economic, libertarianism, anarcho-capitalism. I do think that the state is the enemy, is not the problem, is not the solution, is the problem. I think that central banks are scam. As he said in one interview, I think was in 2018, that Bitcoin is the natural solution, the natural reaction to central bank scam. So I start following him, but I never believed that he was gonna be a political actor so important in Argentina. So then he ran for a seat on the Chamber of Deputies, and he was elected. And then when he started running for president, to be honest, here with my business partner, I was not. He was 100% convinced that Milei was going to become the president of Argentina. And I would say, no, because you don't understand the politics in Argentina. It's very tricky. They are not going to allow an outsider come to the president, but he won't. And he starts doing a lot of things that they are very good, that they are the same things that I would have done if I were the president of Argentina. Because sometimes I always say, I would like to run for president in Argentina. And if I run for president in Argentina, and if I win, of course, I would do 90% of the things that Milei is doing, with only one difference. I would do Bitcoin. I would put Bitcoin as a currency day one. But anyway, so I think he started doing a lot of things that Argentina need. He started doing a lot of cuts, and he also started with his message of freedom, of Austrian economy, of fiscal responsibility, of the control the spend of the government. He started against the woke virus that we were living in a couple of years ago. He started changing the world. He started changing the politicians in the world. Without Milei, we wouldn't have Elon Musk doing Doge. Probably Trump wouldn't have won. We wouldn't have people discussing about Austrian economies and freedom and libertarianism on the mainstream. This is amazing for me. I'm very proud because he's doing a lot of good things in Argentina. When he took office, the monthly inflation was 25% because of the extreme money printing that the former government had done. Now the monthly inflation is 2%. And I think that in a couple of months, the monthly inflation is going to be zero because they are not printing money. He's solving a lot of problems with the central banks. I think that he's going to close the central bank when it's possible. And he showed me like he's a very pragmatic guy and he's a good politician. I thought that he was going to be probably, if I was the president, I would be different. I would not be a good politician. I will invite to fight to my rivals. Let's go fight. But he's a very good politician and a very good strategist. So as a president, I think He's doing things as expected, even though exceeded my expectation. He's making my country great again. He's making Argentina be proud of our values again, of our country again. And for first time in the world, we are not only proud of our football team, we are proud of our president. And happened here in Hong Kong when they say, "Oh, Argentina." In the past, when I say, "Oh, Argentina," "Oh, Maradona," Messi, and now they say Milei. So that is something that I'm very proud. Second thing is Libra stuff. And this is also tied to his character. This disappointed me a little bit because I had a crazy theory before Libra that was that Milei was Satoshi Nakamoto, or the leader of the team that created Bitcoin, because he's a libertarian, he hates central banks, he hates the government, he's an anarcho-capitalist, all the stuff. And he didn't never talk about Bitcoin, like he want to be under the radar with Bitcoin side. Same as Satoshi. He wants to be a person that is hidden, but at the side of everyone. So I thought that he was Satoshi or the one of the guys in the project. But what you need to think is, okay, Milei doesn't know anything about Bitcoin. So that's a big problem that we have in Argentina. In Argentina, even though we have a lot of Bitcoiners, we have one of the oldest conferences in the world about Bitcoin. There is a huge mix between Bitcoin, shitcoins, stable coins, trading, and all this crap. That's why I want to start putting content in Spanish, Bitcoin only. People understand what is money and what is Bitcoin. Because for an Argentinian, it's easy to understand Bitcoin, at least not, but at least its function as sound money and self-custody. So he doesn't understand Bitcoin, but he has this issue that he used a lot of social media. Even though he's the president, he used the social media as one example. The other day, 2 or 3 days ago, Argentina played against Brazil in football, and we won 4-1. And he started sharing in Instagram a lot of things, like getting fun of the Brazilians, like memes and in his Instagram. And he's the president of the nation. But this is Milei. So I think what happened with Libra is that someone came, talk about this project to him, and talk about that the project was going to be good for the government, was good for Argentina, and he posted, because I think he's 100%, he's willing to die for Argentina. He always say, "I'm willing to die defending Argentina." So he's super patriot. So I think that someone came and his people around, they wanted to do some money. Okay, let's put this. And he put Libra. And of course, it was a scam. That's the problem of not knowing about Bitcoin or not studying Bitcoin. Because if someone every day in the Twitter, I have in the messages, a lot of people sending me messages. "Do you want to promote my project? Do you want to promote my meme coin?" And I say no, because if anything not Bitcoin is a scam. Anything not Bitcoin is a scam. So I think that he doesn't know anything about Bitcoin. Probably he thinks that Libra is the same of Ethereum, it's same of Bitcoin or whatever. He posted because he thought it's going to be good for Argentina. And it, of course, was a rug pull. But I don't think that he posted and he made money from this. There is a lot of people that probably in his close circle that make money on this scam. But again, I think that he's not involved in the scam itself. He's stupid because he posted this shit without. But I don't want to say he posted this without even asking, because he's like this. He always goes like this, and we cannot ask him to change. But the only thing that I blame is you're an economist, you're an Austrian economist, you are libertarian, you must know Bitcoin. You must study Bitcoin, and you need to know the difference between shitcoins and Bitcoins. That's what I think that it happened.
Yeah, I say that I don't take serious any economist who doesn't talk about Bitcoin. And with that, so many of the old economists are not the people that I study and I follow a lot. So if you become the president of Argentina, you will become a better president and not rug pulling people. So let's start the campaign ball rolling now. Yeah.
No, I'm here in Hong Kong. I'm happy in this side of the world.
Mm.
But of course, if I become president of Argentina, the first thing that I do is go 100% into a Bitcoin standard. Like, no, it's no way. Let's say I call the minister of economy, and I say, how many dollars we have in the central bank? Okay, let's buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin reserve immediately. I think that is the only way. Is the way to save the world. Is the way that I do in my life. So I was like, if I would do the same that I do every day. So we are all in Bitcoin. So if I was the president, I would do the same because I think it's the best for the country. And I'm sure not only think it is the best for the country.
Yeah, definitely. And now let's talk about your platforms, how you were Crossroads and you became the Bitcoin Libertarian, and the deplatformings that happened, which takes us to the thing that I think is going to be our last topic today, Noster. We have talked about Noster on the chat I had on your podcast when I was invited. And by the way, this show is being broadcast on Noster on Zapstream right now.
Amazing.
So it is available there. So I want to know about your experience and how, of course, Noster is the future. I think I spoiled the ending.
Yes, I think that my experience is I've been dealing with this social media for a long time, especially as I work as I'm a digital marketer by my job is being a digital marketer. And I've been dealing with a lot of platforms where we run traffic like Facebook, we buy advertising from Facebook, from whatever, from Taboola, a lot of different platforms. And the funny thing is that you can get the platform one day to the other. So they shut down your account, and you cannot generate revenue, and you cannot make money, and you have to pay your employees, you have to pay your rent, and they don't give a crap about that. So I hate these centralized platforms. I hate Zuckerberg and all these people since many years ago, because the power that they have, they can the platform you for whatever. It's like, okay, I shot to you, and then I ask you if you were doing something wrong. So that's why I hate the centralized platforms. When Elon, I never used Twitter. My business partner was using Twitter, creating this character. At that time was the Bitcoin Energy Standard. And then when Elon bought Twitter, I think that Elon is one of probably he's Satoshi, or he's involved into Satoshi, into Bitcoin. So he's one of the brightest minds in the world. So when Bitcoin bought Twitter, I say, okay, we must be on Twitter. So long story short, I start at that time the Bitcoin Energy Standard, that today is the Bitcoin Libertarian. We had around 12,000 followers. We start creating the newsletter, and I start creating the Twitter for Crossroad. And it took me almost 2 years to got the around 8K followers. And from one day to the other, even though Twitter, that was the amazing platform created by not created but run by Elon Musk, that was like for the multiple voices or whatever, I was the platform, and I was not even able to complain. I sent a message that went into a spam folder in some robot email desk in inbox. So then I create a new one. I start. So at that time we decided, okay, as we have more traffic with the Bitcoin Energy Standard, let's push more this. Then we rebranded at the Bitcoin Libertarian. So and after that, I was running the YouTube channel with the podcast, and from one day to the other, again, without there was a problem, yes, because at that time we had a couple of YouTube channels of different topics that we were growing. And in one of the channels, one of our virtual assistant uploaded content that was copyrighted. So we got 3 strikes, and this channel was taken down together with 2 more channels. One of them was Crossroad, that had nothing related to copyright because 100% was podcast that I created. So luckily, I had all the episodes recorded in a hard drive, because these motherfuckers of YouTube, they delete everything, and you lost all your job. They don't even let you download your job. Luckily, I had all this storage, and I start re-uploading in the new YouTube channel, the Bitcoin Libertarian. So at that time, we decided to switch and start streaming into Twitter, into YouTube, Twitch, and all the stuff. And we also created a platform that, if you can see the Bitcoin Libertarian Twitter, it's 24/7 broadcasting Bitcoin content. We have an in-house platform that we can put a lot of different YouTube links, or we can connect to YouTube or whatever, and we can broadcast 24/7. And of course, it's going to be open soon for the Bitcoin community if they want to test and they want to have their own 24/7 channel in their Twitter. We are going to use it for testing. So, and after that, the thing is that we are doing like this now. That's why we decided to, okay, let's move to the Bitcoin Libertarian, because the audience is bigger. We can stream there and reach more people. In the meantime, keep growing our YouTube channel with the audience. That's why everyone I say, please give us a like, share, subscribe to our channel, so we can get monetized faster and we can create more quality content, to hiring like more editors and all this stuff. So, but in the middle, 2 years ago, we discovered Nostr, and I went into Nostr. So the main thing is that once you understand Bitcoin, you understand Nostr. And as Derek Ross said, Derek Ross was the first invited to our podcast. Nostr is the purple pill that make your orange pill go deeper.
Down, yeah.
So I think that Nostr is amazing. It's an amazing platform that I use. It's a little bit difficult to use because, of course, it's not a company that is behind that. They are like, it's at the goodwill of all the developers that want to contribute. There are huge advances, but the problem at Nostr is that not all of the people is on board. So, and not all of the people is using that. So we still need to be in the mainstream social media. But I think that Nostr is the future. I love this idea of SAPs. I love this idea of no algorithm. I love this idea of like you are your own algorithm. And I love the idea of not your keys, as I said, not your keys, not your audience. So you have your audience, you get kicked out from Damus, okay, you go to Primal, but you still have your audience. It's not like YouTube, it's not like Twitter, it's not like Facebook, it's not like Instagram, where your audience belong to the platform, and whenever they want, they kick you out and you lost everything. So Nostr, I think that is something that all Bitcoiners needs to go. Everyone needs to go to Nostr. Everyone needs to create an account in Nostr, download whatever client they want, and start posting, start shit posting there, start understanding. Sometimes, of course, you are not going to find the same functionalities that you can find in centralized social media. It's much difficult to use. You need to understand the relays. You need to understand a lot of things. Sometimes the message doesn't work, but we are super early. As we were saying, Nostr is like Bitcoin when it was $1. I think that Nostr is the future. Last year, there was the conference. No, 2 years ago, there was a conference here in Nostrasia in Hong Kong that was backed by Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey sent me 19,000 sats back then, because I uploaded, because I was close to the organizer, and the girl that the last day left, and and I was in charge. I spoke in the conference. And again, I think that Noster is a revolutionary thing. I think that everything now needs to go to decentralization. People need to understand the power of decentralization, the power of self-custody, not of only the Bitcoin, your audience, your assets. Because if your assets, everything depends on a third party, when the third party say, okay, goodbye, you lost everything that you worked for. So that's something that not only Bitcoiners, but all the creators need to migrate to Nostr.
Yeah, definitely. I would. I. It is a bit too early to say about to be very confident about the future of Noster. But from what I am seeing and at the rate it is improving, I am becoming more and more hopeful about it. And if because of some flaws in the protocol it fails, something similar to that and something better than that has to replace it. And I am also like you. I cannot say goodbye to Twitter, to X, or Instagram because still, though I don't use Instagram for my communication that much, I need Twitter to reach out to other podcasters, to other guests. That's because of my job. But when they join Noster, and I am very hopeful about that future, and I am not in a rush. I think that it might take 10 years the way that it took for Bitcoin at least 7 years for me to understand it. And I was very comfortable with computer. I was and I am a big nerd. And it's become much more simple that you can use, for example, Blue Wallet on your phone. I was I don't think that in 2016 you had Blue Wallet. Probably, I'm pretty confident it didn't exist. Things are becoming simpler and more advanced and more secure. So that day will come, and we have Zapster. You can directly get monetized directly from your audience without having to kind of rely on a custodian. Your money is not stored on X's bank account, YouTube's bank account, and they say that you are not good enough for your money, and they just deplatform you. You don't have to rely on the platforms. You have to rely on relays, and the beautiful part about that is that you can have your own relay. And for text message, for I mean Twitter style messages, it is not difficult at all. It is, you have your Bitcoin note, you add one more application, and it will also host your Nostr data. It's just a click. For video and images, it's more complicated, but I think we are in the beginning. It is like Bitcoin at $1, and it's going to improve and become easier.
Yeah, we are in the beginning, even in Bitcoin. I think that what is
Sure.
coming now, I think that what is going to happen now, I'm super bullish on Bitcoin. I cannot believe how the fear and greed index is below 40 and with the Bitcoin at 84. I think that Bitcoin is super cheap. I think that Bitcoin is going to be crazy this year. I bet that Bitcoin is going to be, it's going to reach 1 million super soon. And with this increase of the price of Bitcoin, as money generates incentives, and we are still into a fiat world, a lot of entrepreneurs are going to come to develop applications on Bitcoin. And we need to develop a lot of things for layer two. We need to develop more and more things of security, of make self-custody easier for the Bitcoiners that are coming, for the next 20, 30, 40% people that imagine that the people that is going to come now to Bitcoin, they are not maxis. They are not going to be maxis. Probably they will become maxis, but they will not be maxis like us. That I wake up every day and post on Twitter, anything not Bitcoin is a scam. When I say that become a maxi is like falling in love. And that's the main thing. So they are going to be a lot of solutions to their problems, because an entrepreneur is a person that gets money by solving problems of other people. So, and when the incentives are high, when Bitcoin gets higher in price, there's going to be more incentive for entrepreneurs that are not Bitcoiners to develop things into Bitcoin. And also it's going to happen to Nostr. That's the thing. Also it's going to happen to Nostr. Imagine Instagram when it started. Imagine Facebook when it started. Facebook was in a dorm of four nerds in a university. So I think that we are going to win. I think that Bitcoin is going to win. Bitcoin already won. Bitcoin already won. It's just a matter of time where we become one BTC, it equals one BTC. We are in the. I think that the hyper Bitcoinization is happening now. So I think we already won. Nostr already won. It's a question of time when gets the massive adoption.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Fernando. It was a great chat, and I'm really hoping to talk to you on podcasts and, more importantly, in person. Looking forward to that day.
Yes, looking to meet people in person. So today I was planning to go to a Budapest conference, but I got the email that was canceled. So, anyways, in any conference, I'm around Europe for sure. I like meeting people in podcasts. I like meeting people in Twitter, in Telegram, but it's much nicer to meet people in person and hang out
Definitely.
with the people that we know. And again, keep growing the Bitcoin community. For me, it's been a pleasure to be here as a guest. I'm always the host, but I love being a guest. And the best of luck for your project. And love that, again, as always say, people needs to do podcasts, to write newsletter, to write blogs, to shit post on Twitter, because we need to orange peel the world. And every Bitcoiner that we get in on board, it's one more node of the Bitcoin network, and the Bitcoin network becomes stronger.
Beautiful. We have 676 people following us right now on different platforms. Thank you for staying us this long, and have a great rest of the day. Bye, you all. Bye, Fernando.
Bye
Catch
bye.
catch up with you later.